Hello, welcome to the third, final, and shortest of our three What's New with APA 7th edition style videos. In the first one, we talked about biased language, in the second, citation, and in this third and final one, we're just going to talk a little bit about everything else. So, as with some of the things in citations, there are some other technologically driven changes that are affecting mostly the writing style. One of these is that we are generally using quotation marks instead of italics for linguistic sorts of examples, and that is in part to aid readability for people who are on screens and those who have disabilities using screens. Another is just bowing to pressure using single spaces after periods instead of the more traditional two spaces that was common with typewriters. And there are a host of new standardized spellings for different sorts of things, including, as I'm reproducing here, ebook and Wi-Fi. And they're just copious examples of this sort of thing if you're interested. So some other standards and guidelines that have been changed or updated. There's now a single parallel format for tables and figures when they are used in a paper. This is something that I think is much easier for students who have often struggled with this, and I have a screen grab to illustrate in a minute. Particularly because there's clearer guidance as well on how and when to adapt or cite a figure. That is another thing that undergraduate students in particular, seem to want to do a lot, and it's now just a little bit easier. For the people who are more professional researchers, though, the journal article reporting standards now include things that are both qualitative and mixed methods. Previously, these things were not there, and so now there's more information on how to do more kinds of studies, which is great. As I said, there is a lot more information about figures. Here's the checklist for figures that is sort of included, and this is just part of a much bigger, larger section on making sure that figures are being used in a good and consistent way. So I think this is really helpful for teaching. Another quick item of note is that there are more paper samples that are more detailed in the manual now. So you can see here, this is a student paper sample, and it points out to students a whole lot of really useful and important things about what their papers should look like. A special note is the lack now of the sort of running head and the way that that was done before. So there are some big changes and there are some small changes. And that really wraps everything up. So as I said, this is the third and final video, and it's shortest. There's a lot more information online, both at the University of Baltimore, and I've got a little link to our guide about writing and citing, and specifically the APA page. But also, there's way more online in terms of the blog from the Psychological Association itself, and tons of other resources. So I hope that you will check those things out, and that you will chat with us at the RLB library if you have any questions. And with that, I hope you've learned a little bit about APA style, and that you have good luck in all of your researching.